Welcome to the deep dive. We've got quite a stack of material here today.
We certainly do. It's a fascinating collection. Research notes, descriptions, all focused on four really distinct regions of Japan.
Right, we're looking at Gifu, Hiroshima, Iwate, and Kochi.
And the sources cover, well, pretty much everything. Culture, history, traditions, food, landmarks, even, language quirks and specific songs tied to each area.
So our mission basically is to sift through all this together. We'll pull out the most interesting bits, maybe some surprising facts, and really try to get the essence of each place.
Exactly. All viewed just through the lens of these notes we have. It's like a guided tour using only this research as our map.
Think of it as exploring Japan note by note. We'll start with Gifu, the heart of Japan.
Then Hiroshima, known for peace and resilience. After that, he weighed up in the Northeast, deep folklore there.
And finally, Kochi, down in Shikoku, with that famously independent streak.
Should be quite a journey.
Okay, let's dive in. We're starting right in the middle, Gifu, the heart of Japan. The notes really hammer home its location, smack bang in the center of Honshu, and its history as a crossroads. Does that centrality kind of shape everything else?
It absolutely seems to, based on these sources. Being central meant it was strategically vital, especially, during the samurai era.
Right.
We see Oda Nobunaga mentioned he based himself at Gifu Castle, actually renamed the area Gifu, which is a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
And the notes point out the Battle of Sekigahara happened nearby. I mean, that battle basically decided the course of Japanese history.
So that history isn't just like dates in a book. It feeds into the culture. The notes mention traditional crafts, minawashi paper, blades, lacquerware. Is there a link?
It seems so. The sources connect that strategic past to the blend of cultures you find there. Sort of a refined courtly influence, maybe from the south, closer to old capitals, mixed with a more, rustic mountain life further north.
Oh.
And these crafts, like the paper making in Mino or the famous blades, they feel like echoes of that history, skills developed in a place that was important and connected.
That's fascinating how geography and history kind of resonate in crafts today.
Mm-hmm.
What about traditions? The notes list some really long-standing ones.
You do. Ukai the cormorant fishing on the Nagara River gets a big mention. It's apparently 1,300 years old.
Wow, 1,300 years.
Yeah, still practiced, often by firelight. And then there's the Takayama Matsuri with those amazing floats and mechanical dolls.
Okay.
And especially the Gujo Odori, that's the summer bond dance. The notes say it can go on for over 30 nights, sometimes right through till dawn.
Incredible. That sounds exhausting but amazing.
Definitely rooted in community. And the music notes for Gifu, they seem to tie all this together.
Yeah, the genre description was interesting. Neo-folk fusion, like Edo period meets anime OST meets Japanese lo-fi campfire session.
Huh. Yeah, quite the description. It uses traditional instruments, taiko, shamisen, flute, but mixes them with acoustic guitar, even mandolin.
So that blend reflects the cultural mix you were talking about. Tradition meets modern influences.
Seems like it. The mood is described as mid-tempo, nostalgic, warm, humble, reverent even.
And the lyrics, they directly mention Gifu's hills, heated town, paper lanterns, river stories, the sound of Geta sandals.
Yeah, and even those Gujar dialect phrases the knights mention, like Janaika and Akanwa.
It even references Nobunaga's dream and the cormorant fishing. It feels like the song is trying to be a sort of audio tapestry of the place.
Weaving history, tradition, sounds. Yeah. The notes quote lines like, this town, it's alive, and this town, it's breathing still.
Captures that sense of an old heart still beating, maybe.
I think so.
No.
And speaking of sustenance, let's look at the food notes. Hita beef is definitely a highlight. Top-tier Wagyu, apparently.
Okay, now I'm hungry.
Oh.
But there's more local stuff too, right?
Right.
Kichan chicken stir fry?
Yeah, huh? And huba miso, that's miso cooked on a magnolia leaf. Gohi mochi, grilled rice cakes. And ayu, the sweet fish. Very tied to the mountains and rivers, clearly.
Makes sense. And the clothing notes seem to fit that picture too, yukata and geta for festivals like Gujo Odori.
Right, but also mentions practical workwear for craftsmen, reflecting those traditional skills still being practiced.
Nature seems huge in Gifu's identity too, according to the notes.
Yeah.
Dense forests, wildflowers, mountains.
Cedar forests, alpine pines, wildlife like macaques, seros, bears, and the rivers, home to that ayu fish, which is central to Ukai. The seasonal changes sound stunning.
And it pops up in pop culture too, not just Nobunaga dramas. The notes say Takayama's scenery-inspired settings in anime, like Your Name.
Right, nearby anyway. And there's even a mascot, Minamo-chan, a water sprite, shows how important the rivers are.
Key places to mention. Gifu Castle, obviously. Takayama's old streets, Shirakawa-go, the UNESCO village with those unique farmhouses.
The Nagara River itself, Gujo Hachiman, the water town, and Mino for the paper.
And the language notes mention Gifu-ben has a Kansai influence with phrases like akanwa, not good, and janaika, right.
Yeah, and the song lyrics actually use those, which really connects the language to the whole regional vibe.
Okay, that's a really rich picture of Gifu. Let's shift gears now. Travel southwest to Hiroshima, a place with a history that, well, everyone knows.
Absolutely. Hiroshima's identity is profoundly shaped by August 6th, 1945. The sources really stress resilience, remembrance, and its role as a center for peace education.
But the notes also make it clear there's more to it, right? Older traditions, coastal culture, a samurai past. Miyajima Island is mentioned as a contrast with its ancient spirituality.
Exactly. It's not only defined by that one event, though it's central. The rebuilding of the city as a peace center is an incredible story.
And the notes remind us of its feudal history, too. The Mori and Asano clans, Hiroshima Castle,
Yeah.
and Kure City's naval history.
Yeah, quite a layered past. And the traditions mentioned seem to weave memory and everyday life together. There's the Tokusan Festival in summer with yukatas.
And the Miyajima Kangensai, ancient court music played on boats. That sounds amazing.
It does. And of course, the Peace Memorial ceremony on August 6th is absolutely central to the city's modern identity.
The music notes for Hiroshima are really quite moving. There are peace songs mentioned, naturally.
Yes, like Sen no Kazi ni Nate, but also a contemporary indie and jazz scene. And the J-pop group Perfume actually started there. Yeah. And traditional sounds like gagaku court music and taiko drums are present too.
The specific song notes describe the genre as Japanese contemporary gagaku folk, indie orchestral pop.
Oh.
That's quite a blend.
It really is. It combines traditional instruments like the shomao organ, koto, shakuhachi flute with piano, violin, cello, taiko.
That mix feels significant, doesn't it? Ancient court music meeting modern orchestral sounds, maybe reflecting that blend of deep history and modern resilience.
Perhaps. The mood is described as reflective, peaceful, haunting, but also luminous and reverent.
And the lyrics sound incredibly poignant. They mention paper cranes, the fire that hasn't faded, not forgetting.
Flowers across the bridge, the peace bell. And using that local Hiroshima Ben phrase, ichan, meaning the most, when asking about the most important thing, something you can't even see.
Wow. They also mention taking hands, being alive, the deer on Miyajima, the floating torii gate, the smell of the sea.
It really seems to capture that duality, acknowledging the immense weight of the past, but also embracing life and beauty now.
Finding light after darkness, maybe? Okay, let's talk food. Hiroshima-style okonomiyaki, it's different, right? Layered, with noodles.
That's the one. Distinct from the Osaka style. And the notes say Hiroshima is Japan's top oyster producer from the Seto Inland Sea.
Oysters, okay? And anagomeshi, conger eel from Miyajima. Sounds good.
Plus, they're a major citrus producer, especially yuzu, so lemon and yuzu flavors pop up a lot.
So the food definitely reflects the coast and local produce. Clothing notes mention yukata and kimono for festivals, and that Heian influence on Miyajima.
Makes sense. Nature-wise, the maple leaves on Miyajima are iconic, as are the sacred deer.
And the Seto Inland Sea supports all that seafood. Cherry blossoms too, of course.
In terms of people and pop culture, Sadako Sasaki and the paper cranes are a global peace symbol originating here. Perfume, as we mentioned.
In Hiroshima's story, its image, particularly the Miyajima Torii and the Peace Dome, are recognized worldwide through media.
The key locations are really powerful. The Peace Memorial Park with the dome, the Children's Peace Monument, the museum, Miyajima Island, and Itsukushima Shrine.
The reconstructed castle, Kure Maritime Museum, the Yamato Museum, and Shukin Garden too.
And the language Hiroshima Ben is described as having this strong intonation, direct, but also warm and passionate.
Phrases like Jaken for because and Ichan for the most.
Right. And that local pride comes through in slogans like Hiroshima, City of Peace, or Yapari Hiroshima Jane. Of course, it's Hiroshima.
A region defined by profound history but also enduring strength. Okay, let's journey north and east now to Iwate in the Tohoku region. The notes paint a picture of deep spirituality, folklore, rural artistry.
Definitely. Iwate feels very connected to nature and has this spirit of perseverance, especially highlighted, the notes say, after the 2011 earthquake and tsunami.
Right, Tohoku resilience.
There's a rich history with Buddhist and Shinto roots. You see it in traditions like Onikanbai, the demon sword dance, and their beautiful lacquerware.
Historically, Hirazumi was a major cultural center way back in the 12th century. even rivaling Kyoto, the notes suggest.
Yeah, with the UNESCO site Chusunji, the Golden Hall. There's also a samurai history with the Nanbu clan in Morioka. But that recent history, surviving 2011 and rebuilding, is clearly a huge part of their identity now.
And the traditions sound deeply rooted. Sanso Dodori in Morioka, a huge drumming and dance festival to chase away demons.
Exactly. And Chagu-mako, that parade of decorated horses, which is an intangible folk cultural property.
And Onikenbai, the demon sword dance. That sounds intense. Masks, wooden swords, embodying spirits.
Powerful stuff. And the music notes really emphasize folk and drum music. Taiko drumming, especially for Sanso Odori, they've apparently set world records for mass drumming there. While there are modern figures like J-pop producer Tetsuya Komuro from Iwate, the core sound seems tied to folk ballads about rural life, spirituality, the seasons, even fishermen's chants from the coast.
The specific song description calls it a contemporary folk ballad with regional roots. It aims for an earthy yet mystical soundscape, using taiko, shakuhachi flute, acoustic instruments.
And the vocals are described as storytelling, modest, almost whispered, which the notes actually link to the sound of the local Iwate-Ben dialect.
That sounds incredibly atmospheric. The mood is described as mournful and hopeful, grounded in resilience, quiet but firm, sort of eternal. A lullaby from the mountains, the notes say.
Yeah, and the lyrics reference the Onikenbai dance, footsteps like flame, the village in snow, grandma saying it'll snow again.
It weaves in local dialect phrases too, like undab for wind is prayer, and talks about silent singing.
Crucially, it uses that post-2011 slogan, Gambappe Iwate, let's keep going Iwate, and mentions living as a mighty thing, sue goto, from the dialect and unseen strength.
It really feels like it's trying to capture that spirit of quiet endurance, connected to the perhaps harsh beauty of the place. What about the food? Different vibe there.
Well, Morioka is famous for its 3 great noodles. Wanko soba, that's a competitive eating one, with tiny bowls refilled endlessly.
Ah, I've heard of that. Sounds intense.
Then Morioka ramen, a cold noodle soup, and jajimen, thick noodles with a special miso sauce.
3 famous noodles, okay.
And being coastal, the seafood from the Sanriku coast is vital scallops, sea urchin, abalone, salmon, a direct link to their geography, and sadly, the area hit by the tsunami.
Right. The competitive soba feels like an energetic contrast to that quiet mood, though. Clothing notes mention festival gear, but also traditional straw capes and leggings for snow.
And those dramatic demon masks and robes for Onikenbai. And colorful horse decorations for Chagu Umako.
Nature is defined by mountains like Mount Iwate, the Kitakami Range, and that rugged Sanriku coastline, providing resources but also shaping folklore and resilience.
And the notes highlight Kenji Miyazawa, the famous poet and author Night on the Galactic Railroad. He's from Hanamaki and celebrated locally. His mix of fantasy and spirituality seems to fit the region's folklore focus.
Good point. Key locations: Hirozami's UNESCO sites, Morioka the capital, Hanamaki's hot springs and Miyazawa links, Tono the village of spirits full of folktales.
And the Sanriku coast itself, a symbol of both natural power and recovery.
And the language, Iwate-Ben, is described as a soft, rhythmic Tohoku dialect. Modest, maybe a bit old-fashioned.
Yeah, with phrases like ninda for is and be for let's, and mottos like Gambappe Tohoku or the warm Yukui Shite Itene. Take it easy, stay a while.
It paints a picture of a region very connected to its roots, its land, and its community strength. Deeply felt.
Definitely.
Okay, finally, let's head south to Shikoku. Kochi, the notes suggest a completely different energy here, independent, adventurous, direct.
That spirit really comes through in the descriptions, yeah. Kochi people are apparently known for being sociable, enjoying a drink, loving life, strong connection to the sea and mountains.
Rivers, too, like the Shimanto River, farming, fishing, but also a strong samurai legacy.
Right. The notes make a big deal of Sakamoto Ryoma being born here. He was a huge figure in the Meiji Restoration, a real national hero.
And the Tosa domain itself was powerful, played a key role in ending the shogunate. Kochi Castle is one of the few original ones left. That history of independence seems crucial.
It really does seem central to their identity. And their main tradition, the Yusakoi Festival, just embodies that energy. It started in Kochi, right?
Yeah, the notes say it originated there. Dynamic summer festival, group dancing, those Naruko clappers everyone uses.
Vibrant costumes, incredibly high energy. It sounds amazing.
And Yusakoi music is practically its own genre, fusing folk chants with electronic dance music, rock, taiko, designed for movement and big groups.
There are also regional folk songs, and even an indie rock and surf scene mentioned for the coast.
The specific song notes for Kochi really capture this. Genre: Yosakoi fusion, folk electro rock. It's explicitly high-energy, rapid tempo, 130 BPM.
Instruments include those essential Naruko clappers, electric guitar, synths, taiko, shamisen. A real mix.
The mood: bold, cheerful, rebellious, festive, vibrant. The tone is summed up as, let's dance through the mountains and shout at the sea.
Ha! Love that. And the vocals are group chants, call and response. Definitely sounds like festival music.
The lyrics are just as direct and energetic. References to the Shimanto River, blue skies, smell of rice, sea spray.
Uses local slang like washi for I, and celebrates Tosa's Wild Hearts Hachiken for spirited women, Igoso for stubborn men.
Talks about freedom, letting it fly. Yachukya is the phrase. The Yosakoi shout itself. Racing to the sky, Naruko clapper's opening dream.
References to sake, laughter, festivals, Ryoma's statue on the beach, Ryoma's wind pushing them forward, that core idea of go where you will.
There's even a call-response bridge. Spin, dance, clap, shout Naruko's, send Tosa's soul to the world. It's like a declaration.
A bold declaration of identity, exactly. Confidence and freedom. And the food seems to fit that sociable vibe, too. Katsuo no tataki, the seared skipjack tuna, that's their signature dish.
Totally iconic. Straw-grilled, right? Sounds amazing.
And sawachi ryori, those giant communal platters, everyone digs in together. Fits that direct, sociable culture.
Makes sense. Anza's top yuzu producer, yuzu's everywhere. Plus, a love for strong local sake is confirmed in the notes.
Clothing-wise, those bright fused Yosakoi costumes are key, but traditional samurai wear also appears in reenactments, linking back to the Tosa history.
Nature. The Shimanto River is a huge point of pride. Japan's last major undammed river, apparently. Pristine.
Home to diverse wildlife, plus mountains, yuzu groves, coastal life bonito, mackerel, and even the Tosa Inu fighting dog breed is mentioned as a symbol of strength.
Pop culture focus is definitely on Sakamoto Ryoma, but also the global spread of Yosakoi dancing itself. And the notes mention adventure culture, surfing, hiking.
Key locations: Kochi City with the castle, the famous Sunday market, the Shimanto River Valley, Katsurahama Beach with Ryoma's statue, Cape Ashizuri Viewpoint,
The Hiro Market Food Court sounds lively too, and Makino Botanical Garden.
and finally the language. Tosa-ben is famously strong, cheerful, fast-paced, distinct slang, expressions tied to freedom and nature.
That Yosakoi shout sums it up, and the motto about Tosa being the land of sea, city, and mountains. Very direct, proud identity.
Definitely.
Wow, okay. That was quite a journey. From Gifu's historical crossroads, through Hiroshima's resilience and peace focus, Iwate's deep folklore, and then Kochi's vibrant, independent spirit.
And all just drawn from the details in these source notes. It's amazing, isn't it?
It really is. How looking at the specifics, the traditions, historical moments, food, language quirks, and especially how that might be distilled into regional music, paints such a distinct picture of each place.
You really get a sense that these aren't just names on a map. They have a tangible spirit, shaped by their past, their landscape, their people.
Yeah, you can almost hear the history in the Hiroshima song notes, or that quiet strength in Iwate's, the layered tradition in Gifu's.
And the sheer energy and freedom in the Kochi song description.
The contrast is really striking, too. Iwate's quiet perseverance versus Kochi's bold energy. Hiroshima's reflective remembrance versus Gifu's grounded traditions.
Yet each one feels deeply connected to its own nature, history, and community identity, just based on what these documents tell us.
So, as you've been listening along, what aspects of these regions really sparked your curiosity? Which details from the sources, maybe a specific food, a unique tradition, a word from the local dialect, or a line from one of those song notes, which ones will stick with you?
It does make you think, doesn't it? How much of the sort of true heart or spirit of a place, whether it's Gifu's heartland, Hiroshima's city of peace, Iwate's deep countryside, or Kochi's free spirit, how much of that can actually be captured in stories and traditions?
Or in the specific sounds and lyrics of his music? Can a song really carry the weight of history or resilience or just the joy of being alive somewhere specific?
Something to ponder, maybe, as you continue your own explorations.